All right, everybody, and very unhappy Wednesday to all of you. Uh, I am here dodging the rain. Uh, we are halfway through this week's hostage situation. It's all downhill from here. 2 more days to go, and we are back to another weekend. I don't know about the rest of you, but I had an absolute blast on Memorial Day weekend. Was a lot of fun. Fam and I, we got the pool open. My son and I went out and we found a projector screen for the projector that I bought. Oh God, probably a month and a half ago now. So Saturday night, I had that out there watching playoff hockey, and then Sunday night we had the fire pit, and I had some s'more stuff, and we watched the Sandlot to kind of kick off the unofficial start of summer. So it was really a fun weekend. And then Monday was just all day in the pool. It's been wicked hot here, which was great to warm up the pool, and the kids got to swim. But it's been really, really hot over the last few days. Now that's going to change. It's raining now, and I think the high tomorrow is only like 70, but it's been 85 to 90 and humid, I think, since Saturday. So we've had a stretch of really. It was nice to be able to have that kind of weather for the holiday weekend and be able to be outside and have some fun, not having to worry about rain. I had the cornhole boards out there. It was just a good time with the kids, grilling up burgers and dogs. So I hope that all of you enjoyed the holiday weekend. One note today, and anybody who watched yesterday, I know Quimby had mentioned as well. I did not have the pleasure of knowing the gentleman, but I know today is a very tough day for a lot of you who did. So I just want to send my condolences, and you know, it's just we're all thinking about his family and all of you who were close to him. So I know today's a tough day for a lot of you folks. Uh, you know, try to just remember the good stuff, I guess, is the best way to put it. Over the weekend, we also had my son's. What the fuck is this? Sorry, computer wanted me to run some sort of update. I'm like, how about no, not now. How about no? So Saturday, we also had during the day my oldest, his 15th birthday party. He turned 15 on Friday. We had his party on Saturday. Right, Russ? How about no? Um, so my house was invaded by teenagers, and not just any teenagers, teenage boys. Um, I've got the one teenage boy. I don't know anybody listening out there who may have kids around that age or have dealt with kids around that age. They stink. Like I guess when I was 15, I didn't realize how much we smell it. Like my God, they get out of the shower and they stink. So there was about 5 or 6. How much food? Yeah, how much food did they eat? Surprisingly, not as much. I thought there would be more um, scarfing of all the food. We were definitely prepared with multiple bags of chips. I bought. I think my wife bought. I don't know, some 24 or 32 hot dogs or something. So we were ready. And when they did eat, they did scarf. We had a quarter sheet birthday cake, and I think we had about like 4 slices left. So they bashed that. They drank a whole bunch of soda, which that's kind of gross. Yes, Sam, smelly, smelly age, very much so. And I don't know what the problem is. Why trying to get at least my son, anyways. Hey, boy, go take a shower, and you get this. It's like, dude, you stink. Go take a shower, put on some deodorant, and stop. You're gross, right? Like, my God. Russ, did they eat the hot dogs and ask the girl for? No, this was a Russ. This was a family um, family birthday party. So no, didn't go that far. They did play basketball out in the driveway, and my son tried to take on one of his friends one on one, and that was hysterical. You guys remember that play a few years ago when James Harden kind of broke that guy's ankles, and the guy fell backwards like 3 or 5 feet, and Harden just stared at him and then looked up and hit the shot. Same thing happened to my son against his friend. Wasn't the proudest dad moment, but I couldn't help but laugh. I think I almost spit out half my beer. So that was fun. They had a good time. Um, the kid got some Xbox cards and whatever. Russ, the step back and looked at and then shot. Exactly. Yeah, that's what happened out here in my driveway. It was a riot. All of his friends were like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, big embarrassing moment for my son on his birthday party. So it was cool. But we survived the teenager invasion um, without the house being burned down or smelling too bad afterwards. So we're moving on from that. Um, you guys want to chime in and I talk about your own your own Memorial Day festivities. I know yesterday with Right on Cue, and I mentioned it in my posts about today's show. There is no way I'm going to be able to top that that Memorial Day barbecue guest list. That was an absolute riot. If any of you did not catch that, go back on the YouTube and watch yesterday's watch and listen to yesterday's Right on Cue show. That was absolutely hysterical. I have not laughed that hard in a long time, and I know Q actually had to take a break because we talk pretty much once a week on that show. Somebody needs oxygen. It's usually either Sam or Q. I think we all needed it yesterday, but Q definitely, like he said, he was getting a shot in the beer. I think he had to walk outside for a minute. Once he went into the Riley Cooper thing, that was an absolute riot. So we look forward to the 4th of July one and the Labor Day one. I've got some ideas written down. I was a little unprepared yesterday with that. Wasn't sure. I didn't know he was going to do that until until his Facebook post went up that he tagged me in, and I had the interview yesterday. I'm like, shit. So anything you heard out of me during that was like almost entirely on the fly. So I tried. Yeah, Sam, he couldn't breathe like 4 times. Yeah, I know. It was. I went back and watched it while I was eating dinner after we got done, and I was still laughing. My oldest was watching that. He tunes into that right on cue to see how crazy we're being. I'll run downstairs during breaks and let him know, like, hey, we're about to get into something really funny here. You might want to log in there. I try to tell him to keep it away from my daughter, though. She's only 9. I don't really want her hearing some of the stuff we talk about. But that was a lot of fun yesterday. So again, the 4th of July and the Labor Day. And if you did not see it yesterday, again, go back and watch. Definitely worth it. But as for me today, this time of the year, it gets a little tough. You do have, baseball. So, and we're going to get into a little bit of baseball. It's June 1st. This is always when I take the first kind of pulse. This is when I feel comfortable taking a look at where my team is at. And, do I feel good about where they're at? Do I not feel good? Do I think they're going to have to add some stuff at the trade deadline or what have you? We'll talk about the Phillies too. I'll keep it brief on the Yankees. I know none of you give a shit unless I get Fito or any of my other buddies in here watching. And then we'll move to some Philly stuff. I won't bore you to death with baseball too much, but we are going to talk it. So those of you that think it sucks, and I'm sure we'll see those comments come up here pretty soon. It's tough shit. Russ, let's go Philadelphia Union. Yeah, no, sorry, can't do it. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the NBA Finals, right? And my first show I mentioned that I was going to stick to mostly baseball and football. Well, football, I mean, this time of the year, the draft's over, and there's just not a whole hell of a lot going on there. And we beat the draft to death. We had the Bradbury signing a couple of weeks ago, which was fun. Um, but other than that, we're kind of just sitting and waiting. Now, you could talk about Desean Watson, who, by the way, a 23rd woman just came forward and is accusing him of the same type of shit as the other 22. Who is this? Hey, yo, fly Eagles fly, nest out west. Sam, do we know who that is? Help me out here. Death beat that broad again. So, yeah, Desean Watson. And again, like I said last week, as far as Desean Watson, I want to know what went down in South Carolina when he was at Clemson. You are never going to convince me that this behavior that he is showing started when he got to Houston. This is this is something that I believe has been going on for a long, long time. I don't know if Dabo Sweeney was helping out covering that up, or what have you, or the university itself to make Watson look like this squeaky clean guy. But obviously he's not, and now he's been exposed. So I'm waiting for more to come out of South Carolina. I don't know if any of you have seen or read or heard what Watson tried to offer these ladies, the 22 ladies. So this is not a class action lawsuit, right? It's not 22 in one group all going after Desean Watson. This is 22 separate civil cases. It's not criminal, it's civil. Probably should be criminal too, but it's just not. So apparently the offer was $100,000 to each of them, or somewhere in that area, and there were stipulations in the settlement agreement that they would not discuss, write books, give interviews, or divulge any details of what went on once they took the $100,000 and everything. So they turned it down, and I don't blame them. I would they should drag his ass to court, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Sam, you don't pay that money for no reason. Exactly. He's guilty. Look, if it was one, maybe two ladies coming forward making these accusations, you could say they could just be looking for money, blah, blah, blah. 23? Look, I'm sorry, but when there's that much smoke, there is definitely fire. So, he's going to get his balls in a sling on this one. And now the 23rd coming through to make a complaint, to make an accusation. Look, I already thought he was going to get suspended for 8 games. Now there's more coming. Don't be shocked if he misses the entire year at this point. And it just exposes Cleveland even more for the contract that they wrote for Watson, where it's structured in such a way that he doesn't lose out on a whole mess of money if he gets suspended. It's just such a bad look for that organization. Like, they needed it. Sam, again, we don't know. Is that Dan, the Nest Out West? Trying to figure out who that is. But anyways, Watson, we'll see what happens. The NFL's in no rush. They don't have to be. And we all know Goodell will take his sweet ass time with whatever the hell he feels like taking his sweet ass time with. They're probably trying to wait and see what else may come of this, any other nasty details or whatever, before they make a decision. So that'll go to a separate person to levy the suspension, the initial ruling from the NFL, and then Watson will more than likely appeal it, and then it goes directly to Roger Goodell. So again, like if the initial is a year, he appeals, Goodell comes back and says 10 games or 8 games or sticks with the year. Once it gets to Goodell, his ruling is final, I believe. So I mean, he should have gotten out in front of this if he wanted to protect his squeaky clean bullshit image. So, he's looking bad there. The Browns are looking really bad there. There you go. Nest out west. Browns are going to get hosed. The Browns are going to have to rely on Baker Mayfield. Imagine that. After all of this bullshit where Baker wants out, Baker's got too big of a mouth. We can't, Baker's not going to take us to here and there. And now they're going to have to rely on him to hold down the fort until their $230 million pervert comes back to play quarterback again. Patrick Bernard, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? Greg Meisinger, if it's brown, flush it down. There you go. Look, my in-laws are from Cleveland. The Browns don't really bother me in any way, shape, or form. I tell you, this contract bothers me. It bothers my mother-in-law too, and she's a lifelong Browns fan and a diehard Browns fan. This is a lady you can sit and talk sports with, and she's pretty sharp. So and she's pissed. She doesn't like it. She thinks the whole thing's disgusting. So let me get over to the room here for a minute. Russ on YouTube, if he did it, he did it. But come on, where are these other women showing up from? Well, Russ, I mean, there's 23 of them. I mean, sounds like it's pretty much every single one that he scheduled appointments with. If you look at some of the details of this with him, it's bad, real bad. Like he's borderline like rapey about it, and it's ugly. There we go, Russ again. If he's guilty, guilty, but heaven forbid he is found innocent. I would hope and pray they would have as many apologies and publicly tell us who the lady is. They're not going to do that. They're not. There's no way. Now it's not a criminal case. These are civil cases. So go back to the OJ thing. He was found innocent in the criminal, but was found guilty. Was found, liable in a civil suit. So what that tells you is what they don't believe he actually committed the act, but they believe he was responsible for the act being committed. Same kind of thing here. No criminal charges right now, but civil. They obviously know. Again, where there's this much smoke, there's fire. So he's guilty in some way, shape, or form, and he's going to have to pay out a hell of a lot of money, and then he's going to deal with what should be a lengthy suspension. If you guys look, you saw Trevor Bauer in baseball. He got suspended for 2 years, 324 games. And that's with just, now what he did where he was, he was physically abusing this woman. But still, it's 2 years. Desean Watson has 23 cases against him right now. The prospects aren't good. So we'll see. We're just going to have to wait and see what comes of it. Let me get back over here. Baker has an insurance policy. That's progressive perfect. Look, I'm not a big Baker fan, Lou. I thought he was overrated coming out of college. I think the Browns using the number 1 pick on him was a mistake. But be that as it may, they've been better with him than they were without him. It's just, I feel like he's the type of quarterback where everything's got to be perfect. right? He's got to have the offensive line with no injuries. He's got to have this. I don't think he's a guy that's going to overcome a lot of adversity on the field to win you football games. I think he's good enough to not lose you a whole bunch of games, but I don't think he's good enough to take you kind of over the top there. Where, Desean Watson has proven to be wildly talented, just he was stuck in Houston where they stink. The Beaver swag, at least he's not our QB. Hurts. Yeah, no doubt. Russ, I think he's a dirtbag. I do too. I think he's a dirtbag. And again, I think eventually something is going to come out of South Carolina, where he went to college at Clemson. Lou, Bauer is a shitbag. Yeah, here you go. There's a good one. Bauer is a shitbag too. I hope your mother-in-law's team has a code of conduct clause. I doubt it. The fact that they wrote that contract the way they did, where pretty much all of that money was a signing bonus. He loses, like, I'd have to look into it again. But I don't know that it's more than $1 million if he gets suspended for the full season this year. So I would seriously doubt there's a code of conduct thing in there. Maybe there is, but let's not act like the Browns have been the brains of the operation, especially lately with the signing of him and with the trade and signing of him in the first place. All right, I'm going to get off my high horse with him. That's like the biggest story in football right now. Is this clown and his antics. So, I hope it gets resolved sooner rather than later, because I'd rather see football concentrating on, stuff that's more fun to talk about. Like going to Arizona in October, right? If I could find airfare, that's not going to have me taking out a second mortgage. But anyways, I did want to talk about, hang on here. Beaver swag, nice hat. I'm watching new episode. Let me know if you want spoilers. New episode of what, bud? Are you talking about Obi-Wan? Because I thought that was Fridays. So let me know what you're talking about there. Because if that's today, no, I do not want spoilers. Obi-Wan is my favorite Jedi, and I don't want anyone telling me. So so he said, Beaver swag, yep. So today is the new episode released. I thought they were coming out on Fridays. Leave it to me. I'm getting old. So Wednesdays, my friend. All right, good. So tonight after dinner, I can sit and watch that with my boys. Fantastic. Thank you very much for the info there. He died. All right, that's enough now. But I did want to talk a little NBA Finals. The NBA is not really my wheelhouse, but I think this matchup with the Celtics and the Warriors has the potential to be a real classic. So, any of you into the NBA, I hope you tune in and watch. I do not like 9:00 starts. I don't give a flying shit if the game is on the West Coast. It drives me nuts, because you try to watch. If you want to watch the whole game, it's almost freaking midnight. And I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but 5:00 comes early, and that's when I get up. So I'll do my best. But I wanted to throw a few things at you for the NBA Finals, some things to look at, some things to watch for, some things I think are fun. Golden State and Boston. Me personally, I hate everything Boston sports. All of it. The Red Sox first. You all know I'm a Yankees fan, so that just goes with the territory. I hate the Celtics. I hate the Bruins. And we all hate the fucking Patriots, don't we? Even Harvard can go, piss up a rope. I got no love for anything sports-wise from Boston. The city itself, there's a lot of great American history there. There's really good food up there, but sports-wise, Ugats, nothing for you. The Warriors. So, you talk about the Warriors look like this offensive juggernaut, and Boston looks like the defensive juggernaut. But if you look at their season totals, they are way more evenly matched than you would think, just based on what you hear and what you've seen in some playoff series. The Warriors were 15th in the league at 111 points per game. The Celtics were 12th at 111.8. Right, this is points scored. The Warriors allowed 105.5. That's third best in the league. The Celtics were first at 104.5. So again, very, very evenly matched. Sam, Pats suck. Are you just upset because Brady's not there anymore? She's probably going to kick my ass for that one. You know, there's a lot made about this, about the Warriors and their, what they call their death lineup. And they'll come out, they'll line up with, obviously Steph and Clay, the Splash Brothers. But they found that kind of third Splash Brother with Poole. And then Wiggins and Draymond Green. Nobody over 6'7". So they're just going to run you up and down the floor, right? They're just going to try to wear your ass out. And a lot of transition threes because that's their specialty. It has been for the entire Steph Curry tenure there. And Clay as well. Clay can produce a problem for a lot of teams. Run up and down the floor, a great three-point shooter, but he's 6'6" and plays that guard position. So he's not but again, that lineup doesn't have anyone over 6'7". And that's been a problem for a lot of people. It was a problem for who was the fake ass MVP, Jokic, trying to chase that up and down the floor. He was gassed. By like the end of the first quarter, he's grabbing onto his shorts. He was absolutely gassed. He couldn't keep up. The Celtics are going to come out, and if I were them, the lineup I would throw out there would be, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, who just happens to be the Defensive Player of the Year, Al Horford, and Grant Williams. Nobody there is over 6'9". Right, Horford's the tallest guy at 6'9". Smart only 6'3", but if you put him on Curry, he's still got a 1-inch height advantage. And now you have your Defensive Player of the Year up against the greatest three-point shooter that we've ever seen. Then you can line up either Tatum or Brown on Thompson and the other one on Poole, and then Horford and Williams both have height advantage on Green and Wiggins. I think the matchups are a lot better than people want to give it credit for. Let me hop over here for just a minute. The only thing I liked about my trips to Boston were coming back to Philly. No, so what was your problem with Boston, Keenan? Lou, Keenan, the chowder at Yankee Seafood is wicked. Yeah. Now, look, if you've never been to Boston or spent any time there, the food can be great. The American history is there. Lou, I was rooting for you, bud. I really was. I hate Boston. So, Lou, over on YouTube, would have loved for my Heat to be playing tomorrow, but without Hero, don't think we could have hanged with the Warriors. I see this going 7. I think Golden State wins it. I'm with you. I think it's a 6 or 7 game series, and I do think Golden State is slightly better. The Celtics they find ways to win. They play really good defense. Again, over the stretch of the season, they're more evenly matched both offensively and defensively than you would think. But in a short series, if Smart can't contain Curry, it's over. Because I think that's the key matchup. The other thing I would tell you to watch for is from the Celtics side. I know Tatum is their guy, and he's great. But if they're going to win this, look for Jaylen Brown to be that to possibly be that Finals MVP, or at least kind of in the running for that. This cat averaged 23 per game, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists per game. He shot 50% against Lou's Heat from downtown. 17 of 34 in that series. So this kid is on, he's hot. He's on fire. So it's, all the focus is going to go on Tatum. But Jaylen Brown needs to be accounted for, or he is just as capable of tearing you apart. So again, I think it's a fun series. The Warriors, they're seeking their first title since 2018, and they're 7th in team history. When you look at it from their standpoint, I think you have to take a look at what this would mean for the legacy of, Steph, and then behind him, Clay and Draymond. Those three. They won in 2015. You had that 4-year stretch where it was the Warriors versus LeBitch in Cleveland. The Warriors won in 2015. And then in 2016, the Cavs won. And that was the one where the Warriors were up 3-1. Draymond gets suspended, and the rest is history. I personally believe that the Warriors would have won 4 straight had Draymond not gotten suspended. I think that changed the entire complexion of that series. And LeBitch went absolutely berserk in those last 3 games to win the series. So, even though Draymond, he wasn't suspended for the rest of the series, by the time he came back, the momentum had already shifted. But so, the Warriors, they go out and they grab Kevin Durant, right? Widely regarded as the second best player of this generation, right behind LeBitch, and probably the best scorer overall, right? Like the guy's, what is he, 6'11" or whatever, and he can shoot from anywhere on the floor. So Golden State adds him. Then they go and they're going to, then they beat LeBitch back to back before losing to Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors in 2019. So I think when you look at a legacy thing, the Warriors, they got that one, but then it was almost like they had to add Durant to get over LeBron. I think from there, I think they should be driven by that to get to get this series for Steph, Clay, Draymond to kind of cement their legacy. Not that there's anything wrong, these are fantastic players. Steph is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Clay is going to be right there. Draymond, everybody knows what Draymond is. He can score if he has to, but he's out there to be the enforcer. He's out there to be the antagonist. He's out there to do the dirty work, kind of like the Dennis Rodman from the Bulls era. That sort of guy. But, this, as far as legacy for Steph and Clay, I think it's important that they get this one. It proved that they didn't need KD, to get one in. And this Celtics team is good. Now, it's not against LeBitch. That dumbass and his Golden Girls in L.A. With the Lakers. There's a disaster that I'm not even going to talk about. The Lakers are a freaking train wreck. Let me hop over here for a minute. Lou, I take Ainge over Morey all day, every day. Okay. Russ, here's a question for the room. My coworker saw Top Gun Maverick and liked it, but he never saw Top Gun. Why? All right, I got a problem with that one. So I've heard some people that have seen it that I know have said that they actually liked this one better than. But I don't know anyone that has gone to see this that didn't see the first one. Now, I've not gone yet. I was going to go over this past weekend and I decided to just do some things around the house and stuff instead. But so I may try to go this weekend, but I've been looking forward to this for forever because I loved the first one so much. So why I don't get it. He never saw the original. I don't get it. Lou, I've heard that the movie makes the first one better, and it might. Hey. So I'm going to look into doing that this weekend. Back over to the NBA Finals. The Celtics, they're looking for their first title since 2008 and 18th in team history. So, you know, not like anybody's going to feel bad for them if they lose this series, right? Um, but over these last few years, there's been a lot of talk about all of the great moves they've made, all of the trades, all the the pieces they've moved around to assemble a championship roster. But until this point, it's amounted to absolutely nothing. So just like we were talking about legacy for Steph and Clay and Draymond, what this means for them to win without KD. I think you have somewhat the same kind of problem there with the Celtics, where they feel like I think they have to feel like getting a title in to justify and solidify all of the moves and all of the things that they've done. And again, Jalen Brown, I'd watch out if they don't, if Golden State doesn't do something to put a leash on him. It's not like you can just come out and say, okay, we're going to shut down Tatum, and he's not going to beat me, because Jalen Brown, he proved it in that Miami series. He's just as capable. So Golden State's going to have to be on their game defensively. I think those two lineups that I mentioned earlier, where they're a little bit smaller, not there's no 7-footers slowing it down. I think those two lineups running up and down the floor could make for a really, really fun series. And I'm not the biggest NBA fan, but I do watch. I of course was invested in watching the Sixers for these purposes. And yes, I am on the bandwagon that feel that Embiid got screwed out of the MVP. But so not being a huge NBA fan, I want to see a good matchup. I want to see a fun matchup. I like to see some defense, but it doesn't have to be all about that. I'd like to see these two teams kind of try to run each other up and down the floor and have a good time. So that's my take on that series. I am with Lou Dominguez. I believe this is a 6 or 7 game series. And yes, I am rooting for Golden State. That's because I hate Boston. Others might feel differently. I liked Larry Bird, don't get me wrong, but overall, I do not like anything Boston sports at all. Let's hop back over. You guys still talking about this the Top Gun movie? So who's seen it? Russ, Lou, Keenan, Lou Dominguez, Beaver Swag, Sam. Who's seen this movie so far? Because I have not. The only thing I've heard is that one, some people liked it better than the original. And then the other thing I heard was that, it lived up to the hype, that it was, just as good or a great sequel type of thing. I know that I guess one of the characters is Goose's son, and he's got animosity towards Maverick. But that's about as far. I haven't watched a whole bunch of trailer stuff or read a whole bunch about it, because I don't want to know. I want to go to the movies and see it. I just want to know if any of you have seen it and what your opinions are. Lou Mancini, I didn't see it yet. Lou Dominguez, haven't seen it yet. Will be this weekend in IMAX. That's kind of my idea too, man. I think going to the IMAX this week. It's usually like an 11:15 show at the theater, about 10 minutes from my house. I can do that one. What do we got here? Hailing like a mofo in Phoenixville now. We just had some rain here, but I'm out in the Midwest, bud. This rain's supposed to cool everything down. So yeah, I'm gonna probably go check out Top Gun over the weekend. So next week's show, we can all discuss that a little bit. You know what? If a bunch of you are going to go see that this coming weekend, I'm going to go see it too. And maybe next week is when I'll put that the first time I'll put that link up there for StreamYard for you guys to kind of come in and join me here in the room, and we can and we can talk about that. So, whoever goes to see it, just kind of hit me on the side. Let me know. If you haven't already, head over to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatever the hell else, and look me up. Follow me there. I post a lot of stuff in groups on Facebook because I get suspended a lot because I talk a lot of shit. It pisses people off and hurts people's feelings. I'm not a big feelings guy. So, but head over and hit me up there. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know what if you're going to see the movie this weekend, and we'll talk about that next week for sure. But right now I am just 42 minutes in. So I'm probably going to head over to baseball here for just a few minutes before we wrap up tonight. I know I've seen Chris Sack and Quimby. Quimby was losing his shit early on. Like, you're talking like a couple of weeks into the year when the Phillies got off to, started losing a lot of games to the Mets. And it's not. Chris and I both see it the same way. It's a long season, right? Like, you have time to correct it. You have time to kind of recoup from that. But I do also see, you do have time. There's 162 games, so you have plenty of time to right the ship. But I do believe it's important to get off to a good start. Now, nobody says you have to come out and rip off, go 30-5 in your first 35 games. But, getting off to a solid start, in particular, if you're playing your division a lot to start the year, and even more important, if you're playing a particular team in your division that is likely the team that you would be battling with to win said division. So I thought I was going to start with the Yankees first, but we're going to take a look at some Philly stuff first. Like I said, you want to get off to a good start. The Phillies have not. Okay. And I know the whole city there is calling for Joe Girardi's head. I don't blame you at all. I want to say it was when Girardi first got the job, Quimby had posted, something along the lines of being happy about it. This was a move that I think a lot of the fan base in Philadelphia was clamoring for. Hold on here. Let me look over. Greg, Marion Barber dead at 38. What the fuck? I'll have to read up on that after, buddy. I'll text you after the show once I've had a chance to look at it. That's tragic. I hope it was nothing. I hope there's no foul play or anything. Jesus. All right. Well, Keenan, Phillies suck, but I'll keep winning free tickets on Baseball Brunch. Look, I don't think they suck. I don't. I think they're off to an incredibly poor start. And I think what's magnifying this, well, let me go back, because I was talking about Girardi. Greg, yeah, right. Greg over on Facebook. He was a cowgirl, so fuck him. But 38 is too young for anyone to go. Agreed. But fuck him anyways. All right, moving on. The Girardi hiring. I remember commenting, I think it was Quimby's post. It might have been just the Green Legion in general that posted it. It felt like a move that was there to please, that was a crowd pleaser, right? Like the fan base there was clamoring for a splash at that. You wanted someone experienced. Girardi comes in, he's got a World Series. He's got, he's got a Manager of the Year award. He's got accolades. What you didn't see, what you didn't know about Joe is what I commented on there. Good hire, don't get me wrong. He's going to come in the door. He's going to hold players accountable. He can be a hard ass. What you didn't know about him was, he's got just as big of an ego as most of your big time players, your Bryce Harpers and things like that. Joe Girardi's ego fits right in with that, with those folks. He also will mismanage the shit out of your bullpen. And the Phillies having Dombrowski as a GM, bullpen is not something that he historically has valued. So when you couple those two things together, you're gonna have trouble out of your bullpen. We can talk up and down about the Phillies team defense. I think all of you knew that was not going to be a strong point of the team going into this season. Castellanos is an average at best right fielder. Schwarber is a DH. He's not a good outfielder. Bryce Harper can, he's good enough. You've had your trouble at third base. You knew that the Phillies were going to have trouble with the glove. Okay. But I think the thought was your lineup would compensate for that. And there's where we have the problem. Now, the lineup should be better than what it is to this point in the year. I think all of you would agree on that. I don't know if Chris is watching, but if he is, I'm sure he's probably got steam shooting out of his ears hearing me say this. But when you look at the Phillies lineup in comparison to the league average, that's where they are. They're right in and around the league average in your major offensive categories. The problem with that is you got these big name guys that are costing you a lot of money. All those contracts and the big salary is what's drawing your focus to an offense that's been pretty pedestrian as far as this year's standards go. You look at the NL East as a whole right now on June 1st. The Mets are trying to run away and hide. They have a 10.5 game lead over the Braves at this point. The Phillies are 12.5 back at 21 and 29. Keenan, maybe he is a dickhead, but that would be designated hitter, which unfortunately is also part of the National League now. I don't like it. Anyways, 12.5 back. Not just 21 and 29 overall, not just 12.5 back. The Phillies are 6-14 versus the AL or the NL East at this point. That includes a 3-9 record against the Mets. Okay. Yes, there's still time to right the ship, but that is an absolutely atrocious start to a season that really, when you were walking in, you had high expectations to be competing for this division with probably the Mets, and it was supposed to be the Braves too. But the Braves are also 10.5 back and have had their struggles. Overall, the NL East and the AL Central are the worst divisions in baseball. Right? I think I have that right. Let me see here. I can open up another page. Oh, you know what? We're just going to go here. I believe that's what I know, that the NL East, the Mets are running away, and nobody else even has a 500. Everyone else is below 500 in that division. So let me pull up the standings here for you. I was looking at this before the show. Yeah. So the Mets are 35 and 17. Atlanta is 10.5 back at 24 and 27. Miami is 12.5 back at 20 and 27. The Phillies are now 21 and 29 and are 13 games back. So this is updated as of, through what's already transpired today. The stats I wrote down were previous to today's action. The Phillies have, you've now lost 5 in a row and 21 up and 29 down. Look, your team batting average is 244, which is just 2 points above the National League average. You're a 310 on base percentage, which is 6 points below. Guys like Schwarber were brought in because they were supposed to be on, the OPS, which is on base plus slugging. They're supposed to be the on-base guys, getting their walks and all these things. You're 6 points below the league average, the National League average. What do we got here? Michael Scott. Money means nothing in baseball. The fact the Phillies have a payroll over 200 million, the Orioles over 40 is a joke by the way the Orioles have as many wins. I agree with you. I'm a Yankees fan. Our payroll is always outrageous. I agree that money is nothing in baseball because there is no salary cap. I believe that and we're kind of going down a rabbit hole, but I'm going to go down it for a minute. The luxury tax, in my opinion, is a joke. The teams that can afford to spend over it do not care about that luxury tax, the penalty that has to get paid. Every few years, they're going to want to come back under it to reset it. But by and large, if they want to go over it, they don't really care about it. The Yankees, now the Phillies, the Braves, the Dodgers, obviously, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Cubs, they don't care, okay? There's the other side to that coin where that pool of money, that luxury tax money from your big markets that overspend and have to pay into that pool gets dispersed to your smaller markets, your Cincinnati's, your Pittsburghs, Kansas City, teams like that. A big problem, and I don't want to get into an argument here of what I think is the bigger problem, but I think this is the bigger problem. That luxury tax is there to recycle the money back into your lower markets where they're supposed to reinvest it back onto the field and buoy the ship. They're not doing it, okay? They're not spending. The Reds obviously aren't spending. I covered that a few weeks ago where Castellini's a piece of shit. Look at Pittsburgh. The only team that doesn't spend and is still competitive and a contender every single year in and year out, is the Tampa Bay Rays. That organization gets more out of every goddamn cent than any team in professional sports. And I don't even know that it's all that close. Their payroll is always small, and they're always right there. So for years, teams like the Yankees, Sox, and whoever have waited for those Rays players to be, getting ready for arbitration or free agency because the Rays can't pay them. I think somebody needs to get smart sooner or later and go look at their scouting, their player development, and people like that from the Rays and try to poach that. Forget about the players. Go get these guys. Anyways, that's my spiel about the luxury tax. I think it's bullshit. Baseball has needed a salary cap for a very long time. Not just a cap, need a floor as well. You can't cap it at 200 million, but then allow Cincinnati, say, or whoever to spend 40. It can't work that way. Michael Scott, Phillies. Well said. Phillies have to play 17 games over 5 just to get to 86 wins. Yeah, there you go. Right. So back to the stats I've been giving you. 310 on base percentage is 6 points below the league, the National League average. The 401 slugging percentage is 10 points above. The 711 OPS is 4 points above the league average. So again, as far as the league average goes, you're right there offensively. But I'm pretty sure every Phillies fan out there was expecting more than the goddamn league average out of a lineup that boasts Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, and Bryce Harper. I know Harper's been hurt. I understand. But you still have enough. I think there still should be enough firepower there to be better than this. You want to look at some quick pitching. Team ERA, 4.03. It's right about at the league average. Your pitching staff is third in the National League in strikeouts. So you get a lot of swing and miss or going down looking, however way you want to look at it. That's third in the National League, which is 45 strikeouts better than the league average. Like I said, overall, the Phillies statistically look like a 500 team. But bringing in all of that offensive talent, you need to look better than a 500 ball club, right? So we're going to flip the page. Well, you know what? Let me take a look at. I said before that I thought the NL East and the AL Central were the two weakest divisions. Let me try to back that up. So the NL East, the Mets are at 35-17. Nobody else is even at 500, right? And Braves are closest at 24-27, and they're 10.5 games out. The Mets are trying to run away and hide. If they still had Jacob deGrom, I think they probably would have already ran away and hid. I don't think anybody catch them. The National League Central, also not ideal, but at least you have two teams over 500. Then the National League West, outside of Colorado, pretty competitive. The Dodgers, obviously the best team in that division at 33-16. San Diego's 3.5 back at 30-20. San Francisco's 5.5 back at 27-21. Even Arizona's only 2 games below 500. So they're not back. Colorado's 5 games under. They're kind of not good. So yeah, the weakest division in the National League, at least, is easily the National League East. So the Mets, congratulations, you Mutt fans out there. That if any of you are listening, you are leading the worst division in your league. Good job. Over to the American League. Yeah, it is the AL Central. So Minnesota leading that division by 5 games over the White Sox, who are 1 game below 500. Cleveland's right on their heels, 2 games below 500, and then it really drops off with Detroit and Kansas City. So, yeah, it's the NL East and the AL Central are the worst 2 divisions in baseball. You Philly fans, you cannot be excited about your start. I know that the city is clamoring for Girardi's head. Look, I said it on Right on Cue last night. I commented on Chris Sack's post a few days ago. I don't believe Joe Girardi is part of your long-term solution, but I also don't believe he is, 100% of the problem. Firing him it should shake some things up, bring in somebody new. It's obvious the team needs some sort of spark, right? So good luck to you there. We'll take another kind of pulse check on baseball in a few weeks. Once I get to June 1st, I'm usually, then I'll look again July, right around the 4th of July. You get after the All-Star break into August, the trading deadline. And then it starts to become like, okay, what are my pennant races? So you're safe for now, but I am going to close the show with my beloved Yankees here. We lead the AL East by 5.5 games. It's been a bit of a scuffle lately, but I believe that's the as far as win percentage goes, we still have the best win percentage in the league. The starting pitching has been like outrageous. I think over the last week we've had one person go less than 7 innings, and that happened to be Garrett Cole. So Nestor Cortez has been, like a find from out of nowhere. We have had injuries in the bullpen. Chad Green, Loizago, who me and a couple of buddies call Lasagna, because his name can be a little difficult to pronounce, and Aroldis Chapman, who I personally, if I was New York, I would have parted ways with him 2 years ago. You cannot trust him in a big spot. I'm not sure I trust him. Actually, not sure. I know I don't trust him with anything less than a 3-run lead. I have another friend of mine, Bob, who says that all the time. Anything less than a 3-run lead, he doesn't even want to see him in the game. That's a problem when you're paying him as your closer. Zach Britton is hoping to be back August, September. That's a ways off. So they're going to have to figure it out for a while. If the starting pitching can stay good, obviously the bullpen stays fresh, and there's no problems. The lineup has been solid, apart from Aaron Hicks and Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo has been my kind of poster boy focus of hate towards the analytics approach of baseball. We can talk that again in a couple of weeks. I do intend to talk analytics as far as how it's affecting all of sports, not just baseball. Not tonight. We're not going to do that tonight, but in a week or two, that's definitely going to be a topic. Gleyber Torres has been heating up. Rizzo, who was part of that Cubs team that broke their curse, had lefty stick. He's got the perfect swing for Yankee Stadium. He's not going to hit for a whole lot of average, but he's going to pop his home runs. And in that ballpark, he's going to pop a bunch of them. So he's a problem. And the biggest deal for us to this point has been Aaron Judge. He's having an MVP start to the season. He leads all of baseball in homers with 18. He's second in the American League with 38 RBIs. He's first in slugging at 657, third in OPS at 1028, and he's first in run score with 39. Not to mention, he's a great outfielder. Can play right field. He can play all three outfield positions. They've had him in center field. Think about a 6'7" center fielder. I think the last guy that played center field that was even remotely that tall might have been Dave Winfield. So it's been a great start in the Bronx. Easily the best team in the American League to this point. Best win percentage in baseball. And it's been a long time since the Mets and the Yankees were sitting atop their respective leagues. The Mets by, I think, a game over the Dodgers right now for the National League. That's the pulse right now. I could run through some more divisions with baseball, but I am over an hour here now, and I kind of want to get down and eat dinner and get ready for some playoff hockey tonight. So I'm going to close it out here. I want to thank all of you again every week joining me. You guys in the room, you're the best. You really are. Michael Scott, Keenan, Greg, nice to see Meisinger jump in. Lou Mancini, Lou Dominguez, Russ Taylor, Beaver Swag. Still not quite sure who that is. Who else do we have in here? Patrick, Nest Out West. I don't want to forget anybody here. Russ Taylor. I already said him. But yeah, it's always a blast. You guys, again, like I said last week, when I reach for content, you guys are always there to help me out. Again, I kind of hit a little bit of a lull right there, and there you were with the Top Gun movie stuff. So it's a blast, And again, I knew I wasn't going to be able to top the Right on Cue show last night. That was just hysterical and a lot of fun. But I feel like I hope that I'm entertaining you at least somewhat on that level. And I know that you guys are definitely helping me out and certainly entertaining me. I mean, most of you guys come in with a lot of funny stuff. You had the comic relief, so it's always a blast. Sam's been in here chatting it up too. I think this week was the first week I was able to set up the show, get it going, and just go all the way through without you being in the background. You were able to kind of just sit on the sideline and comment. So, we're moving in the right direction, I guess. Keenan, Sam, did you know DH isn't a dickhead in baseball? Hey, look, it can mean both things. David Ortiz was a designated hitter and a dickhead because he played for the Red Sox. Remember that one at home, kids. Anyways. All right, folks. I'm at an hour and 5 minutes here. I'm going to wrap it up. Again, thank you all for joining me here in the room. This has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, brought to you by Green Legion Radio. We'll see you next week when, hopefully we'll be able to talk the Top Gun movie. I'm going to put that StreamYard link up next week and see if we can get a couple of you guys in here to talk that movie and somebody who's gone and see it. I'm going to make a point to go see it this weekend. So hopefully we can jam about that next week, along with whatever other fun stuff comes up. I'm sure we'll have plenty of NBA final stuff to talk about. And, maybe the Phillies will fire Girardi like Sack wants. I think he wants that done by tomorrow night. So he gets fired and Larry Boa steps in. who knows? Maybe things start to turn around there for the Phillies. I hope so for your guys' sake. Anyways, you guys have been great. Thank you all for being here. And I will see you next Wednesday right here on the Unhappy Gilmore Show. Thanks a lot, y'all. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next week.